All right, again, I know that NewsNation is doing a lot more coverage tonight than you're seeing on other cables. That's because we don't pick a side in the game, and we are not hiding from the obvious issues. And I know a lot of the coverage is with insiders who cover the president. That's not the way I do it. All disrespect to my brothers and sisters who cover the president. Establishment players don't help you understand the insurgency and the demand for change that there is in this country. I want to talk to people who are players, whether they're in the game or trying to disrupt the game. That is the best service to you. That's why we're doing it this way, okay? I know it's different. And if it's not for you, that's fine. If you want to pick a team and go to an echo chamber and get people to tell you what you want to be true more than anything else, there are places for that, literally, specifically by design. NewsNation is not one of them. It is news for all of America. And the conversation will be open and continuous. To that point, let's bring in Donald Trump's former campaign manager, Corey Lewandowski. What did today mean for you on the Supreme Court level? Do you think that you're going to get clear of this obstacle on the ballots? And what did you make of President Biden's appearance tonight and the special counsel report?
Well, Chris, look, I think Alan Dershowitz, you had on earlier, was very articulate about the case. I believe that Alan Dershowitz is right. It's going to be an 8-1 or 9-0 decision. And what we heard from Justice Roberts and members on the left of the court was, if Colorado is allowed to do this, what precludes other states from doing the same thing against Joe Biden, Mississippi, Alabama, et cetera? So, look, I think this is going to be a swift decision. I think overall it was a very good day at the Supreme Court for the Trump campaign. I think we'll see an answer quickly, and I believe Donald Trump is going to be on all 50 ballots. Good day for the Trump campaign as it relates to that. As it relates to Joe Biden, there is a old adage, when you're in a hole, stop digging. And when Joe Biden went back to the podium tonight, I saw the staff in their minds go, no, just keep walking. He made the mistake that so many politicians make. One more question, one more answer, I got this. And when he went back to the podium is when he conflated Mexico and Egypt, and it is now the talk of the press conference, Chris. He should have just kept on walking, and he probably would have gotten away with a very average, no mistake press conference. Instead, look, all we're talking about is Sisi from Mexico when he's actually from Egypt.
Couple questions. You know, I mean, you and I have known each other a long time. I'm not as impressed with gaffes. People make mistakes. For me, it's about concepts and, you know, what your philosophy is and what your action is. So for people who are, you know, undecided, which I think is going to be a very small slice of people in this country, but for them, you got two questions on these 2 points that you just made. They're not into Article, the 14th Amendment, Section 3. It's arcana. You know, that doesn't make sense. What is your answer to the following? Did former President Trump encourage people to go to the Capitol on January 6th to stop Congress from doing its job? Do you believe that's what he wanted on that day?
Chris, here's all that matters, right? All of the resources of the federal government, the Department of Justice through Jack Smith, have an opportunity to charge Donald Trump with any crime or crimes they believe he has committed. They have never charged him with the crime of insurrection. So, you know, he has 91 counts pending against him, everything from the classified document case to, you know, all these other things, but never has he been charged with the case of insurrection or inciting an insurrection or participating in an insurrection. So this notion that a specific state could keep Donald Trump off the ballot for something that not only has he never been convicted of, but never been charged with, is really the premise of the Supreme Court's decision. And I think they're going to rule in almost unanimous decision to allow Donald Trump to be on the ballot everywhere.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.